Hello, this is Alan Wheeler on my channel where I discuss tarot and spirituality. And today's topic is concerning 6 kinds of ASC, or altered states of consciousness. Now, a quick disclaimer, all of my videos are just food for thought. I usually am gathering ideas for myself, working through things that are new to me, and my ideas may change. I'm not advocating certain or prescribing certain ideas at all. So on to 6 kinds of altered states of consciousness. In some of the more intense levels, this could be called astral tripping. But let's start with the more mundane. So number 1 is meditation. And to me, this is more focused on the body. I associate it with Eastern traditions like yoga, Zen Buddhism, and so on. It's often focused on the breathing, relaxing the body stage by stage. And from what I see, it's often an attempt to disengage the mind and to be mindful of the body. And sometimes something like a Zen koan is used. The paradox, for example, of the sound of one hand clapping. So you focusing on this kind of paradoxical image or idea disengages that chatter of the monkey mind and encourages this meditative state, or staring into a flame, or chanting, and so on. So the state, the altered state, can be trance-like, quite hypnotic at times, but it is a focus on relaxation from what I've seen in the different kinds of meditation. Now, it's a broad term, but I think we can distinguish number 2, which is contemplation. And this, to me, is more of an engaging of the mind. And I associate it with Western traditions, but I'm sure there's overlap, and it's used in all cultures, I'm pretty sure. But contemplation would be focusing on a scripture or an icon, focusing on a idol, a deity, something like centering prayer, where bringing the awareness in to, again, this deity or this spiritual concept. So contemplating the psalms or a song, and letting the mind work its way, working it in kind of like yeast into dough. Now, so far we've talked about body, mind, and then the third one, pathworking, I would say goes more to the spiritual realm. And this will be familiar to those who work with tarot, but also with through the Kabbalah, and a kind of engaging with the Sephiroth on the Tree of Life. So in the case of tarot, I have a card here just for an example, and this is the Queen of Cups from the Millennium Thoth Tarot. But it's easy to find information about this, but one begins by entering the card, kind of taking a journey into the scene and engaging all the imagination, the taste, touch, sight, sound, journeying beyond the borders of the card, sometimes engaging the figure in a kind of channeling. And so it's going in much deeper than simple meditation or simple contemplation. And it would be similar in the walking the pathways on the tree of life, and going into an almost journey of the imagination or the spirit. So we're going a little bit more intense at each state, at each example here. Number 4 would be CEDR, and this is something from the Norse mythology, and I think it can be referenced in the Poetic Edda from that culture. It can be a group of people who want to contact a spirit through the oracle, or it could be a medium, and it's kind of weaving together events, moments, experiences in order to see the patterns, the spiritual or underlying patterns to either experience divination or the contact with the spirit realm. Number 5 is the Shamanic Journey. And again, this is kind of a guided journey. And what typifies this is a kind of psychopomp work in which the guide takes a person into the underworld or the other world. There's can be healing involved, visions that give guidance or messages, and so much more intense than even pathworking, I believe. Now, finally, I want to distinguish from CEDR and the Shamanic Journey something called hedgeriding. And this is, I think, more associated with the witching community and tends to be solitary in practice. So basically, it's also crossing the veil into the other world or into the collective unconscious, but it's by definition not controlled by the practitioner. So although it can also assist in divination or spells or healing, like some of the others, it tends to be not guided or controlled as much. And so sometimes it's said to possibly be dangerous. And so some of the safety measures would be discernment and not taking every spirit or fragment of psychological fragment at face value, but discerning the spirits. Maybe not everyone is friendly, benevolent, or helpful. And different protections, such as guides, crystals, casting a circle, sometimes protective items are brought into play. Maybe a broom, a wand, an amulet, iron, salt, rowan wood, and things like that. Now, some may say that these items have energy in themselves, and some may say it's the faith of the person using them or psychology. Nonetheless, there tends to be consensus. Maybe a red cord can be used, a safe word, prayer, or sigils. So many forms of protection can be used. Overall, in any kind of astral tripping or altered state of consciousness, I think it's safe to say, be reasonable, use common sense, be respectful of the things encountered, whether energy or spirits or psychology. Be responsible. So don't give your power over to whether it's a deck of cards or the first thought that comes to mind or feelings that come to mind. Be responsible for your own choices and actions, and trust the gut, trust the intuition. If something doesn't feel right, trust those kind of red flags or warnings. Let me close with some of the methods people have used to reach these altered states of consciousness, these various kinds. Shamanic drums, music like Tibetan singing bowls, much can be found online, rattles, dancing or rocking, chanting, of course, focusing on the heartbeat, and finally, various flying ointments or psilocybin as in mushrooms and drugs, basically, to reach these altered states. So that is my food for thought, thinking about 6 kinds of altered states or astral tripping. And I appreciate your watching. Please be sure to hit subscribe, like, comment, hit the bell to kind of get the algorithm up so the videos get out to those who might be interested. As always, I hope you find connection with people in your life, with online community, and on your spiritual path, whatever that might be. Take care.